Three Canadian teams advance to round two of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Which of them have the best chance at moving on? Hey, everyone. Welcome to Off the Post. Rob Wong, joined alongside, as always, by Steve Simmons, Bruce Garrioch, and Patrick Johnston. Bruce and Steve still friends after the Battle of Ontario, which is why they have gathered here today. We'll get to the Maple Leafs coming up in a moment. But, guys, we were 1.6 seconds away from spending the majority of this video talking about why the Winnipeg Jets did what they did and where they go from here. But a miraculous comeback for the ages, and they are now getting set to take on the Dallas Stars in the next round, while the Edmonton Oilers in the Western Conference will face off against the Vegas Golden Knights. We'll start with you, Patrick, with these teams out west. Out of the Jets and Oilers, which of the two teams do you feel has the better chance at advancing to the conference final?
Well, have the Jets figure themselves out? The Dallas Stars, the way they, in the end, put away Colorado, it wasn't easy, obviously, but put away Colorado without Miro Heiskanen and without Jason Robertson was an impressive feat. Now we're looking at the Jets, who are much more, well, I mean, I guess they're much more wounded, since we don't know when Scheifele's coming back. We don't know when Morrissey's coming back. Connor Hellebuck remains a huge question mark. I think the Jets, for all the good things they did in the regular season, remain in huge trouble, whereas the Oilers took advantage of some ridiculous coaching decisions by Jim Hiller and now seem to be climbing the mountain towards where we think they should be. I think the Oilers have a much better chance of advancing here.
I think the Jets lose in 3. Can you do that in round 2?
The underwhelming round 2.
They're just not very good right now. And the goalie, who was their MVP and some people's league MVP, it'll be really embarrassing, by the way, for the NHL if he wins the Hart Trophy in the next couple of weeks. And you got to.
I know he was in my top 3.
He was mine.
Anyway. He was not in mine. He was 4th on my ballot. I prefer players to goaltenders for that award, but I don't think Winnipeg has a chance against Dallas. Dallas is just so complete, so well coached. They're playing right now without their best player. And Heiskanen is far and away their best player. And be interesting if he comes back with any quality at all. I think they might win the West. The Oilers are funny because the two guys are so great. McDavid is so great and Draisaitl is so great that the team can be crappy and the team can play sort of mediocre hockey. And those two guys can do stuff for you that nobody else can do. So I'm not saying they're going to beat Vegas, because I don't think they will. But I think they got a shot. Because you always have a shot if you've got Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl on your team. And those guys are, just the two best players in the world, I believe.
I look at last night and, maybe this is an opportunity for the Winnipeg Jets to shake it off and move on. The issue they have, they don't have Scheifele. Who knows how long Morrissey is out now? I mean, they're in a world of hurt at the moment, and the Dallas Stars, they're just a machine. I mean, I know it took them 7 games, but they may have already faced their toughest opponent on the road to the Stanley Cup final in the Colorado Avalanche. I mean, if I look at these, if you say who's going to make it, I take the Oilers over the Jets, just because I think that the Oilers have. I'm not saying Vegas is an easier opportunity, but I'm a little bit with Steve here in that you got those two guys. You can maybe stand some bad goaltending because you might be able to outscore the opponent.
The funny thing I will say this for the Winnipeg Jets, and we've seen this many times before. Teams that come and win Stanley Cups have this awful first round almost setback. I've seen it where they're close to being eliminated or they're almost eliminated. They somehow stay alive. I'm not saying it's going to happen with the Jets, but I've seen historically where it's happened before. And so, I always sort of side on history as a lesson for anything that might happen.
Yeah, it's really interesting. You've got two teams here in the Jets and the Stars coming off these Game 7 wins, or maybe they have a bit of a feel of team of destiny here for both of their rosters here. But on the Eastern Conference side, I know we talked a little bit about it last week, Steve and Bruce, about the Maple Leafs and Panthers series, which gets going on Monday night. And Steve, everybody talks about the core four when it comes to Austin Matthews, William Nylander, John Tavares, and Mitch Marner, of course. But out of those 4 players, who needs to have the biggest series if the Leafs have any chance at beating the Panthers?
Oh, I think it's absolutely Austin Matthews. He's the core one. He's the alpha dog here. He's the captain, and he's up against Alexander Barkov and Gustav Forsling. And Alexander Barkov is probably the best two-way center in hockey. Matthews might be top 3 in that, by the way. And I think Gustav Forsling is as good a shutdown defenseman as there is in the NHL. So shutdown D guy and all-time great defensive center are up against Matthews. He's got to be good. He's got to be great. They're not going to score on the power play the way they did in the early games against Ottawa because, frankly, Florida's penalty killing is exceptional. And so I think it's going to come down to Matthews, who has led the NHL in scoring at even strength goals since the day he entered the league. It's time for him to show that in the month of May.
It comes down to 2 guys, Matthews and Marner. Marner, I think William Nylander, he gets criticized a lot, but I think he plays with a lot more emotion than the other 2 guys. And I think I mentioned this to you, Steve, during the Ottawa series that, when they lost game 5, it's because there just didn't feel like there was a lot of emotion with Matthews and Marner. I think if those guys can take their game to another level and they continue to get the goaltending from Anthony Stolarz, they at least have a chance. I'm concerned about them physically, Patrick. I wonder how much the Leafs can hang with those guys physically.
Yeah, that's the big question for me. And obviously, looking from afar, I've always been impressed with William Nylander. I feel like he shows up every night. I mean, Mitch Marner gets a bad rap, but he still puts up the points. But yeah, I'm with you, Steve. Like this is all about Austin Matthews. This is the time to get it done. This is a group that has been criticized for not getting it done, and who else but the captain to lead the way? It's absolutely all about the Matthews story here, as far as I'm concerned.
There's nothing harder to do in hockey than score goals, and we hear that from coaches on the end of seasons, at the beginning of seasons. Bruce, you heard it from Travis Green today. There's nothing harder than scoring goals in the NHL. And who scores more goals and better goals than Austin Matthews? And this is year 9. Guys, they're not kids anymore. This is year 9 for Matthews and Marner and year 10 for Nylander. It's time for them to do something special, even if they lose, because this is a great Panthers team, by the way. 9 players from the Panthers played in the 4 nations. Everybody else had 3 or 4. They had 9. And what people don't realize is some of the guys you don't know on that team, Luosterainen and Lundell, and those, they're really good players. Like, that's a deep, well-coached team that just knows what they have to do to win. If the Leafs can somehow get by them, and I'm saying if, because it's a big if as far as I'm concerned. But if they can, Bruce, you're going to hear this from me now, Bruce. If they can get past Florida, they can win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I mean, and you know what? You laid this all out for me before the Battle of Ontario, that the path was there to greatness, and I can't doubt you. Especially after I saw that gutsy game 6 performance, which actually was their, other than the first game, their second best game of the series. And to their credit, they were taking it pretty hard from you meanies in Toronto, and they just ignored the noise and went on.
You know what's the most impressive thing? Sorry, Pat. The impressive thing to me was when David Perron banked a puck off the back of either Stolarz or Stolarz's head. I'm still not sure. I've watched it 11 times. I haven't figured out how it went in. But when he did that, and you're in a playoff game and you see that happen, it's like, we're done. We're out. They're winning. It's God's will. Like,
it's hard to score goals, Steve. I mean, I just wanted to give you guys credit for being the independent, unbiased journalists you are, where we have Bruce in Leafs blue and Steve in Senators red, just to show.
Oh, very good.
This is actually, it looks red in the video. I think it's closer to an orange than it is a red.
Don't blame us if you couldn't will your team to the playoffs.
They got bigger problems than what their
we tried to help you.
They got bigger problems than what the reporters
them.
have to say. Oh my God.
Yeah, lots to talk about when it comes to the Canucks in due time, I imagine, here on these videos. But we'll see how all these teams fare in round number 2, which gets going on Monday night. As always, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. For Patrick Johnston, Bruce Garrioch, and Steve Simmons, I'm Rob Wong. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.